Are you curious about the unknown, the unexplainable? Do you find yourself intrigued by the mysterious and paranormal side of our world? Join us on an adventure into the world of inexplicable discoveries and investigations that may someday give us a final answer as to what may be behind the veil of reality. Then it's time to turn your pods up, because we're live to tape from the mountains of West Virginia. It's time once again for Let's Find Out with co-host Diego. The universe is waiting for you.
Everything in this universe has a beginning. The Big Bang. The formation of nebular matter into stars and planets. The first collections of amino acids in the Earth's oceans. The first creatures to leave them. The first mammals. The first primates that walked upright. The first religion. The first printing press.
Pump up your space boots and phone home. It's time for Let's Find Out with co-host Diego.
Unknown.
Live to tape from the mountains of West Virginia, it's Let's Find Out with co-host Diego. Bigfoot, UFOs, Stargates, Let's Find Out, paranormal, intelligent design, entertainment. Let's find out. You're listening to Let's Find Out with co-host Diego.
Live to tape from the mountains of West Virginia, it's another episode of Let's Find Out with co-host Diego. Thank you for taking this journey with me. On this episode of Let's Find Out, from the very early age of 3, our guest has been having paranormal and extraterrestrial experiences throughout their life, with 3 occasions of missing time, and can recall some memories from each one. Eventually, this developed into seeing UFO sightings regularly, and they do follow her to different parts of the world and usually appear over her gardens. Please welcome to Let's Find Out a new friend of the show, known on social media as Marie's UFOs. Marie, welcome to Let's Find Out. I'm so happy to have you on tonight.
Oh, thank you so much for asking me. It's my pleasure to be on the show. Thank you very much. It's great to be here.
Yes, and I was telling you earlier that I've been following you for quite a little while, and I really enjoy watching the videos and looking at the pictures that you post on social media. And there's so much to cover, but let me start with this, because this is my first time I've ever had somebody on the show that has experienced missing time. When was the first time that happened to you, and how does that feel like?
How does it feel like? Well, I'll tell you about the second one first, because that's when I felt more and remembered more. And the feeling is horrible, because you're missing a chunk of time. It was 1 a.m. in the morning, suddenly it's 6 a.m. and only felt like 2 minutes had passed. And you know that there's something happened there and you just don't remember. It's a horrible feeling not to be able to remember. It just really is. It haunts you at the back of your mind. Like, what could have happened? And it's so real with time, you don't feel any different. Like, you don't just suddenly feel, oh my God, it's all missing. It feels like nothing has happened. You don't feel a thing. It's just that the time has gone and you're still standing in the same place as 5 hours ago, still standing at the window, not moving. So that wouldn't happen. You wouldn't be standing there for 6 hours. That's when I had been missing time for 5 hours. It was 1 a.m. Suddenly it was 6. And I just went about my business like nothing happened. But it's haunted me forever, since it happened. And just the fact that there's parts of your life that you don't know what happened. It's a weird feeling, very strange feeling to know that all those hours, so much could happen in 5 hours and you don't remember hardly anything. It's very strange. It's a bit like amnesia, I suppose. That must drive you insane as well, if you get amnesia, So the first time, I suppose, I was with my daughter and my husband, and the 3 of us. My daughter was asleep in bed at the time. She was about 6 years old. And she was never afraid of going to bed, never afraid of the dark, anything like that, never woke up screaming. So we were just watching a movie, and I know it was coming to the end of the movie, and it was about 10 to 1, something like that. And my daughter just started screaming, "Mommy, mommy, mommy." And I ran in, really thought, what's that? It's really strange. I never did that before. And she said, oh, the house is falling down. The house is falling down. And I said, no, it's not. You must have had a dream or something. And she said everything in the room is shaking. All her toys, things on the cabinets, on the shelves, everything was rattling and shaking. And we didn't feel anything or hear anything. She said it was the whole building, she felt like. And we didn't feel anything at all. So I just assumed it was a dream. I just really thought she had a bad dream. And then she asked if she could sleep in our bed. And I said, yeah, sure. So we were lying on my bed. And I said to my husband, she's going to sleep in our bed. I'm just lying down with her for a little while, just talking and trying to change the subject and everything. And this, through the gap in the curtains are windows over here, through the gap in the curtains, this light, like a laser, really tiny pinpoint of a light, just got me right in the eye. And it was a perfect shot because it got my attention. I mean, it didn't hurt anything, but it got my attention. And I thought, what's that? Because I was in a building with 6 floors. I was on the 4th floor. I had a great view of the sky in front of me. There was no lights that high out there. No neighbours had lights that could shine in my windows like that. So I knew it was something odd. So I jumped to the window and just looked out, and I couldn't believe my eyes. There was like opposite me, just over the next building in front of me. So I had a great view. There was this huge ball of light, just a huge, I called it a glowy ball, but I suppose now it would be a huge orb, a light, like a light orb. But this was huge. It was bigger than the moon. It was like brighter than the moon, but down much lower. So I ran into my husband. I'm like, oh my God, look at this, look at this. I knew straight away it was a UFO. It couldn't be anything else. It couldn't have been anything else. And it was stationary. And it got a little bit weird then, so I don't remember what he said. I just remember going back into the room and looking at the window with my daughter. And I know it must be probably 1 o'clock by that time. And then suddenly it's 6 a.m. in the morning. It was daylight outside. And the object was still there, but it turned lovely golden, like a golden mist. And suddenly it just started disintegrating like smoke or mist, all just disintegrating and just disappeared. So that's what I saw when I woke up, more or less, at 6 o'clock, or came back, if you want to say it like that. It was still, the object was still there, but it wasn't this really bright ball anymore. As I said, it was, I could see through it. It was just like smoke, and it was golden, and it just disintegrated and disappeared. So I didn't remember. I went about my business. I don't know if I went to work or if it was the weekend or whatever. Don't remember if my husband came to bed. Don't remember where my daughter was. Did she come to bed? Did she go to sleep? She was next to me, that I remember. And then suddenly it's 6 a.m. So I don't even know if she was in bed. I just don't remember anything. And it suddenly came back to me. I calculated it at the time that it was about 6 weeks later. I was at work in the office and I heard some girls in the kitchen talking about, they mentioned UFO on the news or something. And when she said UFO, it clicked in my mind, UFO, and I remembered. I thought, oh my God, how did I forget that? And I was just, it bugged me all day long. How did I forget that? How on earth did I forget something that just happened a few weeks ago? It really happened. The 3 of us were there. So I couldn't wait to get home to tell my husband and ask him about it. And unfortunately, he didn't remember anything. He remembered me running into the lounge and saying, look at this. And he remembers seeing it, but he doesn't remember anything after that point. And then I remember running back into the bedroom. My daughter, she sort of was saying, I told you there was something funny. You didn't believe me. She said that it wasn't a dream. You said I was having a dream. It was not a dream. It was real. But something funny happened there because my daughter said she goes to bed at 9 o'clock. And like clockwork, she loves her sleep. She can't physically stay awake after that time. So she used to bed about 9 o'clock. But she said when she screamed calling to me, she said that was only 5 minutes after she went to bed. And I said, no, Jeannie, you must have been asleep and woken up because it was 1 a.m. And she said, no, it wasn't. You're wrong, you're mistaken. So I didn't go to sleep. I was awake. and then I screamed straight away. So something funny happened there. And whatever with the time, she thought she'd just gone to bed, but it was 1 o'clock. She'd been in bed hours, since 9. So then we couldn't remember anything after that. I sort of remembered up to the point that I told you, and the turning yellow, and nothing in between. And it was about 2 years when the memories actually came back. These came back in little sections, like images, and each image jogged my memory to go even further. And it was like each image jogged my memory as well and expanded on it as well. And then the next image would expand another bit. So by the end of all the images, I remember like a good few minutes. So what I remember was after I saw the glowy ball, this like, I'd say, call it an orb, and if we will, an orb of light, like a blue orb, it seemed to come out of the ceiling. And I saw faces in it. There were 2 or 3 faces that I can't remember. I remember seeing 2 distinctly, but there could have been 3, one at the background or something. But I did see 2. And they weren't greys or with the big eyes. They looked like old people, but they were like bluey, kind of really luminous, turquoisey, kind of like a light coming off them, turquoisey light coming off their skin, like luminescence or something like that. And they were grey, bluey, very pale blue, but they didn't have the big eyes that people talk about. They had maybe slightly bigger than normal eyes, but very wrinkly skin, like an elephant kind of wrinkles like that. They looked very old to me, and very kind. I wasn't afraid. I remember not being afraid. I saw them as friendly, and like I wasn't afraid, and I sort of knew them, and like I was used to them before, but I never remembered them before. But it was like I had experience before. I felt that at the time. So next thing I knew, I don't know if they took me in that ball or whatever, but next thing I knew, I'm in this place where it's just completely white. I can't see anything, nothing, no windows, nothing like that. It's just all white, like a very clinical place. And then as I was walking, and I don't know if I was floating, or people asked me, were you floating or walking? I don't know. I know I was just moving. And we came along curve, and I just saw for miles, and as far as I could see, went on for a long way, and just loads of plants, like green plants everywhere, all really neat and lovely little rows all the way down, all down really far. And I just heard this voice in my head. And I didn't see beings, but I felt that there were 2 beings behind me, one on the left, one on the right. I could feel the very strong presence, and they felt bigger than me. I could feel them up here somewhere. I could just feel this thing, like a presence. So I knew there were 2 there behind me, and I never turned around to see them or anything. I should have done. I don't know if they had me under some sort of control or something, because I know in my mind, I've been waiting for years for some kind of, just give me some information, just tell me who you are, just show me something, give me some memories back or something. And it's not happening very often. So I'm sure I would have been very excited and asked loads of questions, but I only asked the one question that time. They said to me, I heard a voice in my head, and it was a man's voice, but what didn't sound human. That's all I can say. It sounded like a man, and it was English, but like, I could say a bit robotic at the same time, or like an echo coming out of it at the same time as a voice. So like 2 voices in one talking at the same time, if that makes sense. That's what I'm remembering, something like that.
When you heard those voices, and it sounded like multiple voices, do you think that it was a collective of these beings talking in a singular way, or was there some sort of echo because maybe you might have been in a starship of sorts?
See, both of those sound quite logical to me, because it could be either. I know definitely they do operate with a collective consciousness, was one of the experience. I did connect with 4 of them, so the 5 of us were connected. I'll go into that as the next Missing Time episode. But so I do know they do operate like that as a collective, because I've experienced it. And also, what was the other one? Sorry.
No, that's fine. Do you think that maybe it was that you were inside of a starship?
Oh yeah, you see, that's also possible because when I was on the craft, the second experience actually, I saw the craft that before I was taken onto it. I saw it and it was fairly small plane-ish kind of size, like a small plane. It was then very low, small plane, but when I was floating up into it and inside it, it was absolutely enormous. And I'm thinking, how could all this fit in this little craft that I saw? It's impossible, virtually impossible, because I saw control rooms, unbelievable stuff. And I'm thinking this could not all fit in that little craft. So did they transport me to another main mothership, or I don't know. It's very strange how your perception gets all weird. I can't describe it because how is that possible? It's too quick. I was there and suddenly I'm there, and the way they take you as well is very quick. It just I can't fathom it still, and it happens to me, but I still can't explain a lot of the technical side of it. I don't know. It's obviously things we don't have, and amazing things that they're using and they can do. So we should be wary.
I mean, they could pretty much do with their advanced knowledge what it is they want to do, but with with these orbs, has it increased? Because you sent me a few pictures of these orbs, or you taken photos and video. Has that increased the frequency?
Oh, definitely, yes. It's increased a lot because, well, I find over the years, as I said, I've been having experience since a child. They were very, very secretive. I was trying to tell people, but they never let me get any evidence. They never let anybody else see anything. And people were calling me mad and, oh God, you must be imagining things and this. I heard it all over the years from everybody, family, friends, as jokes, and I've been the butt of every joke, still am really in a way, but more people are taking it seriously now because the government's coming forward saying, oh, UFOs do possibly exist and they're not ours. So that's a big piece of disclosure, in my opinion, to say that in the first place. So it just makes the normal person think, wow, like we all know the truth, I suppose, if you're in it, in the rabbit hole as such. But for the normal everyday people just reading the paper and listening to a little bit on the news, it's massive news for them, I think, to hear the government say that.
It has, especially here in the United States now. How is it being handled in your side of the world?
Hardly anything, to be honest. Hardly anything.
Really?
Yeah. A few here and there, very in less than credible newspaper, you'd get a little clip of something, but not as much as America. We don't have a lot of UFO researchers that are on the ball and challenging all these people who are putting this information forward. The way I see it is, I don't think we have any crash craft or any beings, from what my knowledge is and what I've seen over the years and what they can do, and come all the way here from God knows where. It could be interdimensional, time traveling. I'm sure they're from another galaxy myself, but I don't know how they get here so quick. They're obviously either just outside our planet and have a little base there and the government's not telling us, or they're traveling interdimensionally, or they can just appear, because I've seen them appear and disappear. I've actually got some on film, lovely light orb at the night time ones. It comes down quite low, and I'm filming it, and it's just, I'm saying it's going, and it just disintegrates, just disappears. Even a light would go off and on or off, wouldn't disintegrate in little pieces like that, So where are they going when they do that?
Yeah, and not to interrupt you, but I can definitely subscribe to the opinion of interdimensional traveling.
Yeah.
In addition to that, where it's maybe that they've been here long before we were here. Possibly one of the ones that helped create the human race, depending if you subscribe to the Sumerian tales.
I do believe that.
But it might be something to where they can appear and disappear at will because they're already here. So I think the interdimensional thing is a possibility.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I never used to buy into that before because I just knew that they came from another galaxy, and they've always put that in my head, or it's always been in my head. It's another galaxy with intergalactic travelers. So I've held on to that because normally if I get a little bit of information like that, it's normally correct, and I'll hold on to it because I don't get much. But when I do get something, I know it's normally true. It always is. So I think they're manipulating time and space somehow. So whether you want to call that interdimensional, another dimension, we don't really know, do we? If there are other dimensions for sure, it's just all theorizing. So I like to just keep everything on the back burner and not buy into any kind of theory or anything. You know, you like to think, well, this fits, and this fits, but at the end of the day, it may not fit. So I like to keep my options open until I know for definite and I've seen evidence and it's proved it to me and all the rest of it. Then I'll say, yeah, this is a definite piece of information. But that's not much, really.
No,
What
it
I
is.
have is quite good, but
No, it
I
is
don't get too
terrific.
much.
Terrific evidence. You know, it's you and I were a little bit of the same to where you at the age of 3 or maybe even younger, who knows, you've been having
Yeah.
these experiences, whether it's paranormal or UFO. For me, my experiences with paranormal started right about the same age as you. Was there a history in your family other than yourself that had these type of experiences before it started happening to you?
Just my grandmother was a little bit psychic. She always did witch things like tea leaf reading and cards, reading the cards and all things like this. So she was always into ghost stories. And the family, my mother's sisters, the mother's side of the family, they all loved horror books and horror movies and Dracula and things like that. So I grew up in Ireland, Dublin, and mainly there, it's good or evil, and it's either the devil or it's an angel. There was no in between. So when I was saying things like, oh, there's people coming out of the wall, it really frightened them a lot because they're very superstitious, all my mum's sisters. And for a child to keep saying this over and over, and I was normal in every other way, my mum called the doctor on occasion to see if I had a high temperature or maybe hallucinating or something. And they said, no, she's fine. I was always fine. So I did have something removed from my leg when I was 6. My mom found a lump on my leg, and they said it was a piece of glass or a piece of metal or something like that, and I had it removed. So that left a scar. But when they x-rayed it and found the spot where it was, when they opened on that spot, the object had moved around to the side. So they had to cut me again twice. So you see, I've got 2 separate like little slits on my leg side by side where the object moved. And my mom said it was just they said it was a bit of debris or something. It must have got in your leg somehow. But there was no entry point, and it was quite big. She said it was about the size of a matchstick, or a little bit smaller, maybe shorter than a matchstick, but about the same thickness and things like that, little long thing in my leg. And I've also had something removed from my jaw, and a couple of other things, medical issues, and I'm wondering, do I have implants or whatever? I mean, I had something in my eye as well. I've got something, it's not wrong with my eye, but it's showing up on scans and things that there should be something wrong with my eye, but there isn't.
That's very interesting because I'm of the opinion that there is something similar how in biblical terms called generational curses, but I'm not saying it's a curse or it's possibly that for generations, maybe members of your family have been tagged with a certain thing, maybe an implant, and they keep track of your bloodline or the history of your family along the way.
It
Is
has
that
to
a
be
possibility?
something like that, doesn't it? Has to be
Yeah.
something like that. But none of my family have any alien experience. None of them have seen a UFO. But quite a few have had ghost experience, spirit experience, or paranormal, and they're terrified. All of them are very terrified, and they're Catholics. You know, I was always a bit rebellious and never. But I mean, the fact that you mentioned a little while ago, I used to say to my mother, aliens created us, and she was trying to send me to church and tell me about God. And I just wouldn't believe it. I would say, no, aliens made us. There's no such thing as God. And they just thought, what a strange child, you know, in 70s Dublin, when everybody else is a strong Catholic. And you just don't hear people saying things like this, especially children. But I always challenged it, and adults couldn't give me the answers that I asked, any questions that I asked, they didn't have answers for me. So I started like researching myself from a very early age, from probably about the age of 10. I started researching ancient history and looking back to see what are the answers in ancient history. Who were we? Who were they? You know, are we the same people as the ancient Egyptians, or where did they all go? In fact, if we're not the same, where did they all go? I had so many questions as a child. So the fact that I had ETs, I mean, I always knew in the back of my mind that they were in my life, but it's been sporadic. Sometimes there's years in between, like the experiences, but nowadays it's since 2017, it's been every day, twice a week. Just every time I go outside into the back garden, it was raining mostly here, so that's not much when we add it up. But every time I'm outside having a coffee, I'll bring my camera now and I'll just ask anybody there. Had a sighting day before yesterday. I was just out there and I did ask anybody there can hear me out there, and straight away the orb, straight away, like instant, this lovely orb appeared and flashed 3 times like that, and then it disappeared. So I didn't get it on camera, but then it did come back after about 10 minutes. It came back again right overhead, and I was able to get it on camera a few times, but they don't stay long. It's like they're teasing me, and I don't have time to get the camera ready sometimes. I'm like, wait, please, wait. And they don't. It's just for me to see them. They just want me to see them. They don't care if I get a film or not, but it seems important for them to know that I see they're here, they're watching me or something. I know they hear every single thought I have. They hear everything instantaneously. And what I want to say as well that I think a lot, maybe it's 50-50, think they're hostile and all these implants. I know I've had these strange things, but when I met the beings, like the light beings in the second experience, we'll go through that in a minute, the love I felt, it just changed my whole mind and my whole perspective on everything and my outlook. I wasn't so dreading the experience anymore because I used to feel absolutely physically sick because you get sort of a wave and I feel it in my sleep and I'm feeling really sick, and then you get pounding in my ears and sleep paralysis and it's absolutely horrible. And then I can feel them there. So I'm just wondering, why did they scare you like that? They could have easily calmed me down. Or, I don't know. It's just always puzzled me. So I was terrified for a long time, until I was into my 30s, I think. And then once I had that experience, I just felt completely different. And everything changed. They started showing themselves to me more. I saw more orbs, and that's like, I don't know if they're spirit orbs or if they're. I think some of them are connected. I can only think some of them are spirits, and some of them are definitely connected to the UFOs, because I've filmed orbs down on the ground, like in the garden, after I'd filmed the UFO, like an orb about the size of a tennis ball, like the proper orbs you see in the house. I've filmed them outside and in the house and on the same day. So I think they're connected to the UFOs. I really do. And in fact, I think I'm starting to believe that all paranormal stuff is connected to the UFOs now. Well, in my case, all the paranormal things that had happened, lights going on and off, electricity problems, all things like that, TV going on and off, everything used to break, just go mad. Remote controls were always breaking. I'd get a new one, same thing happened. And just odd things, when you're there by yourself and the TV comes on or goes off, or the stereo just suddenly comes on blasting. It's a bit scary. So I think that's all connected to the UFOs now. When they're in the area, maybe it affects the electricity, or maybe they're just letting me know that they're here. We're here. And it took me a long while to suss it out. I just thought they were poltergeists and ghosts, and it was separate somehow, but it seems to be all together now. It took me a while to combine it all together. I don't know. What do you think?
It is Is there a certain time of the day where the activity is more
No,
frequent than others?
no, this is it. Like the other sighting I had the other day was 6 o'clock in the evening. The sighting before I had in May was 1 a.m. I saw it through the kitchen window. I made a cup of coffee in the dark, and I saw the light out the kitchen window, the green and red lights. That one, and that was amazing. So that was 1 a.m. 6 p.m., 3 p.m. I'm not usually out in the garden in the AMs now because it's too cold. But maybe in the nice weather, I'll be out there till probably 1 a.m. and they'll come around that time as well. So now it could be any time. It used to be nighttime. When I was younger and the sleep paralysis, it seemed to be about 3 a.m. And I was plagued by that time. It was always 3 a.m. I'd start getting shivery and, oh, what's going to happen tonight? And I'd be waiting for something to happen. And couldn't sleep. I trained myself to stay awake till 5 till it got light because I just didn't want to be in bed in the dark. When something happened, I want to be sitting up waiting for it. That's the way I felt. But then I realized that didn't make a difference whatsoever. I had spirit orbs and the door opening and closing in the middle of the afternoon. So it's anytime, basically. It really is anytime. I realized that.
And I understand what you're saying because you sent two videos to me, I think earlier this week, and they seem to be on two different times of the day. One seemed to be in a bedroom in a low light, and then the other one was around a bed. I think there was like a mosquito net around that bed.
Oh, that was the red orb.
Yes.
Yeah.
Can you tell us about those two videos?
Okay, my mum died a few years ago, and that was the first one was her bedroom. And my brother was here the day before I got here, and he said he caught a lovely green orb in the house after my mum died. So I got here a couple of days later. So he said when he said that, I said, well, I'll film as well and see if I catch anything. And I caught the lovely red orb in her bedroom. So I never thought anything of it. And I didn't think it was my mom or not. We just thought, oh, we caught a lovely red orb in mum's room. And then I was in Sri Lanka maybe 3 years later, in 2016 that was. And I sadly lost my daughter. So I was grieving and I went to Sri Lanka for yoga and peace and nature and all the rest of it to get away from London. And I had so many experiences there. But one, I did see the red orb as I was in bed and I was just about to watch something on my laptop and go to sleep. And I saw an orb fly about. So that's why I got my camera. And it wasn't even my camera, it was my phone actually. And I never filmed with my phone. But I just said, hello, is anybody there? And the red orb suddenly comes out. But I posted that to Twitter just recently, a few months ago. And somebody who on my Twitter, one of my followers, loves orbs and analyzes them with filters and finds faces and all sorts of them. So she found this face. She said she didn't even have to look. She just put one filter and this face suddenly came up. Just didn't know who the face was. And to me, that is my mum. I mean, all the family can see it. It's absolutely my mum's face. And there's a curl at the side here where on the hair she used to have it like she wore her hair up and up like that and a bit of little curl here. And that's even in the picture. So it just made me feel quite good that to know that my mum was there with me in Sri Lanka when I was having all those experiences over there and going through everything and actually having a good time as well because it was a great, fantastic place. So I was just shocked to see it because now it confirms for me, definitely. I know my mum's around me. We've had a few signs now with my mum, definitely in the house, my brother and I. I'm living with my brother at the moment. This is my mum's house and we're just selling it. But he's had a few experiences as well. He's lost his wallet and he'll find it just in a very obscure place that he didn't put it. And he swears it's my mum did that. She used to always find his wallet for him and he's always losing it. But he says, oh, that's my mum put it there. But I actually saw a ghost. It was so... I've never seen a ghost before, really. I've never seen a spirit. I've seen a little bit of smoke, but never saw an actual full spirit with a face and everything. But it was on my mum's birthday one of the years. And I was having this dream that my mum appeared to me in my dream as a ghost. So I was dreaming of the ghost. And I woke up in a panic, like, and as I sat up in the bed, she was still there at the end of the bed. And I'm like, I just saw her, and she disappeared. It was just so creepy. It was so funny. That she, exactly what I saw her in my dream, and I opened my eyes and sit up in the bed, and it's still there. But she looked nice. She looked young, like in the younger days. And I remember her from when she looked probably when I was at school. She probably would have been 25 or no, 25, probably 30 or something. My mum had me when she was 20. So it looked like she was in her 30s. She had lovely blonde hair and lovely black jumper on, and she wasn't smiling or anything. But we think she's haunting us till we get on better.
My goodness, and this shows that it doesn't matter where in the world you are, you're having these
I know.
experiences.
Yeah, I know. I saw some amazing UFOs in Sri Lanka because I was in the middle of nowhere, and I ended up staying a year there. I just thought another 3 months, get another visa, and it just flew for me. So I was just having such a great time. It was so peaceful and everything. I loved it. Didn't want to come back. So I was in the middle of nowhere. I was hiring villas, maybe right down on the beach, an acre away from each neighbours, and there'd be nobody around, no lights, no city lights, very, very quiet. Everybody's in bed by 9, no flight paths, nothing. And I would get these amazing UFOs. Like, I had an orange one once, a lovely big orange orb. And I had the manager of a hotel with me that time. We were both observed that. We were on the balcony having a drink. And this one just came and stayed over the balcony for a few minutes. Amazing orange, lovely. So they just come, stop overhead, have a little look, and I don't know, that's it. I don't remember ever feeling any missing time. I think I'm aware now. I am aware of the time, and I don't feel as if there's any missing time. I normally, if it's 1 a.m. and I'm sitting out in the garden, it's normally 1:30 or something when I come in, so I don't feel like there's anything. And I'm just doubting now, why are they using implants if they are? Is it two separate ETs, races? Well, one good, one bad? I don't know. It's very strange. But I have had a strange thing removed from my jaw that left me paralyzed for 4 months, which is a little metal thing again. And when they went to take it out, it was under my tooth, so they had to go down in the gum. And when they went to take it out, he said all my nerves, like these nerves here, were all entwined in this object. And it was very dangerous. He couldn't actually get it out in one operation. It took 2 operations because it would have left me paralyzed if they damaged my nerve. But he said it was like, his words were, it's like tiger country in there. He said, I've never seen anything like that. And they didn't know what it was. He actually sucked it up with the tube. And I wanted to get that and maybe get it analysed or see it or look at it or something. But he sucked it up with the thing. I thought he was going to take it out with the tweezers and put it in a bowl like a bullet. But he didn't do that. So I never thought to say, can you keep it for me? I need it. I thought it would be just there for me to take it myself. And like when it was there, but he didn't do that. So I never got that analysed. But it did leave me paralysed for months. And they told me it wasn't damaged or cut or anything. It will just come back by itself. And it did. Just came back after a few months. But that was a very weird experience. It's like when you get the injection, the Novocaine, and it just didn't wear off for months. I was frozen. I couldn't eat. I was like this, couldn't eat, couldn't drink properly. It was horrible, really horrible. So I don't know what that was. Daryl Sims talks about it with the implants. But I don't know if I go in for implants. I really don't. I have been tested by UFO people and with the guns and all those stupid gadgets they have. And, oh, yeah, you've got loads. You've got 25 implants. Well, it turns out I did have something there that wasn't supposed to be there and something in my leg that wasn't supposed to be there. So maybe some of it could be true.
That's possible with the removal of a couple of the implants. This has not slowed down your experiences.
No, they've become more. It's since 2017, I've been seeing them all the time, and they let me get really good photographs, and they just seem to be buzzing about outside all the time. And if I go away somewhere, they follow me as well. So it doesn't matter where I am. I could be in the middle of London in really busy places and in a hotel even. And they don't seem to care if people see them now. It's really strange. And they let me get the footage. And I'm sure they're laughing their heads off because most of the time I'm struggling with the camera trying to get where you are trying to and mess it up a lot of the time. I'm sure they're finding it really funny when I'm trying to get footage. It is hilarious. Because I'm not really a photographer.
Now, with all this experiences happening to you, have you been contacted by any authorities over where you're at, wondering why this is happening to you?
No, never.
Never.
Never been told to stop talking. Never been asked a question. Never by any researchers or anything, hardly. Maybe one or two. But no, nothing. Nobody's interested, it seems, over here. And especially I have got quite a lot of footage now and a lot of photos. Sometimes if I can't get a video, I'll just take photographs. At least you can zoom in on them. And when I have there's one UFO there, and there's 3 pictures. I took 3. I just saw a black object, very dark black, really black. The sky was very grey that day and cloudy, so you could see it really clear. So I just took 3 photographs, and then it just seemed to go up. And I do have a 4th photograph with it gone up there and just disintegrate like a bit of smoke. But the 3 photographs, I took them click, click, click all together. And in each photograph, they're completely different. It's gone, there's a big circle one, and it goes into the shape of a ship, like a cigar shape, in the space of a click. It's impossible how it could move and how it could change that quick. Because I take 3 clicks a second or 2 seconds. It's very quick. So for it to change like that, it's just amazing. So did I catch it in the middle of morphing? And it's a very strange object. It's too big to be a balloon or anything like that. It's not an air balloon because it was quite low and over the garden just by the trees. And zooming in on it is just unbelievable. You can see all sorts of things, but no lights or anything like that. But weird things. It is like a massive tent of a circus, the big top. It's like actually one of those, but it can't be. It's down too low and it's not that big. But it's just weird. And then it turns into the proper cigar shape. And you can see, might be lights, I don't know. There's little things on it that could be lights. But it looks like a proper little spacecraft. It's amazing.
It does sound amazing. Now, with all these stories that you have and the experiences, have you journaled any of this? And do you think you would ever write a book about your experience?
Yeah, I'm going to Sri Lanka soon. Probably stay 3 months or 6 months, and I'm thinking I might do that. I might write some. Well, I don't know. I started writing journals, and I forget. I started writing loads and end up not doing it. But I more or less speak from memory all the time because these are so embedded and so profound. And I don't really dream that much. I never dream of aliens or spaceships. Hardly ever. Maybe once in a blue moon there'd be something odd. But most of the time I don't remember my dreams. So it's not like I'm having really profound dreams and they're dreams. These are all in my waking time. And I've had witnesses with me that see things as well. My brother's here sometimes when I see the UFOs. He'll come out and have a look. And it's just weird. We just don't know what. Every time I'm out there, just one comes over, like an orb, one silver orb, or the ones I'm seeing now. They're not like nuts and bolts craft. They're like a mirror image or a light and glistening and moving all like this. So it doesn't seem like it's a proper shape, and it's not actually a light either. It's very strange, like the orb I got the other day. It's not just a light. It's very strange, and it's not a nuts and bolts thing either. So these are the ones I'm getting, like a lot of the orbs, and they can change as well. The orbs can change into little black craft as well. I've seen that. I've taken pictures of 6 orbs in a semicircle, lovely orbs, and you can zoom right in on them. And then later on, I caught one of the orbs with a lovely little gold craft, little round one with black going around it like this, like a window. and that's with one of the orbs. And then another photo later on, there's 6 of them all together with this little gold craft. So I think it's the 6 orbs that were there, and they'd all changed into little shell-shaped little crafts. But I've seen them change when they come down as well. When a little black one comes down, if it comes down as low as the trees, they can, and a little bit lower, they turn into just a shadow. It's so strange. I can see through it. It's creepy as anything. They're a bit creepy for me, but they're the same race, and I shouldn't be creeped out by different ones. But it's like they're showing me all their different craft. It's so strange, and like even the one with the red lights and the green lights, that was amazing. I've never seen anything like that before either, and that was just caught my eye from the window, and I went out, and it's just there. And I think that was a little triangle one with the lights on the bottom, like red lights and white lights, and they were all going on in sequence. It was amazing. And I was just thinking, why are they just coming here? What do they want? They're not taking me every time. I don't believe they are. I don't know the reason. I do ask them sometimes, can you come? Let me see you. I miss you. I haven't seen you for ages. It's been months. And as soon as I go out there, they'll turn up. So they hear me. I know for a fact they hear me, and they know my thoughts. And they've helped me a lot as well with financially. And I've asked them for help when I've been in trouble, and I'll get money from miraculous ways. Unbelievable. And that's a whole show in itself. But so they're definitely there helping me. And I've realized that they're very, very sensitive to my feelings and how I'm going to be scared and frightened. And I realize that now. And I think the fear that I had years ago was my own fear because of maybe my beliefs growing up in Ireland, and there's a devil and there's a poltergeist or there's a ghost and this and that and the other. All those things frighten you as a kid. So you don't know what to believe. It was only when I started researching myself and trying to understand it and thinking, oh, these are beings, I found it really exciting that they were aliens, because I want to know about other planets and I'd love to travel to other planets. So that was always in my mind as a child. So to me, having visitors from space was never scary. It was fantastic to me. So in fact, meeting them wouldn't have been a problem. So I don't know why they don't let me have face-to-face meetings. Maybe it would change my life on Earth and people won't believe it, and it probably would change things for the worse for me coming back here all the time. Maybe they sense that. So I think they are very sensitive to our needs as humans, and have not to frighten us too much.
Yeah, it could be a possibility to where they're trying to communicate with you in the safest way they know how.
Yeah.
Instead of just right out putting you on your planet, which can cause you a lot of physical harm.
It actually, yeah, it could do. One of my ex-boyfriends, when I was 18, when we had an experience that time, that was the very first one, with sort of things involved. I was staying over at my boyfriend's house. His parents were away that weekend, and he asked me to stay over. So we were in bed asleep, I remember, and it was 3:00 in the morning because the clock was there. I woke up to all this noise. It was like the wardrobe door was slamming, and there was some chrome rails in the hallway. They were jumping off the ground, and everything was shaking, and literally the chairs were jumping a bit off the ground, and just all mad. And I'm screaming, what the hell? What's going on? What's going on? And then it stopped. It was only for about 5 or 10 seconds, and then it stopped. And my boyfriend was in the corner of the room, and he had like a crucifix, and he was holding on to his crucifix like this, and he was shaking. And I'm like, oh my God, what was it? What was it? Again, I thought it was a ghost and poltergeist. Aliens never occurred to me because I didn't see lights, didn't see a spaceship. I never used to see ships at that time because I didn't really go out in the dark as a child or whatever. So I never saw spacecraft or anything. And so aliens didn't come into my mind that time. But he started saying, aliens were here, aliens were here. And he was off the scale, like hysterical. And I was screaming, I'm going home, I'm not staying here. Come with me, come with me. He didn't want to come with me. He was saying, no, I'm staying here. So I said, oh, I'm going, there's no way I'm staying here. So I legged it up the road to my mom and told her what happened. She was saying, "Oh, you kids, what have you been doing? Have you been dabbling in Ouija boards or anything like that?" And I was like, "No, don't be stupid." So she was sort of blaming us, even though she didn't know what it was. That's how she used to react if anything scary happened. What must be your fault, for dabbling. She always said I shouldn't be dabbling in things, which is researching I was doing. I wasn't dabbling. But the next morning, I said to my sister, "We better go around and see how he is, see what's happened. You come with me." And we went round, and the house was a bit wrecked. He'd smashed like mirrors in the house, any mirrors that were in the house, he'd smashed them. And I said to him, "Why did you smash the mirrors?" And he said that an alien overtook. And he was gone, completely gone. He was laughing hysterically and talking incoherently, but this is what I could make out. He said an alien went inside his body, took over his body, and he could see it when he looked in the mirror. That's why he smashed the mirrors. He didn't want to see it. But I don't know if it went or it stayed, but that's what he said. And he started saying he saw aliens in the room, and he said my stomach was cut open and they were taking things out of my stomach. And I'm thinking, "Oh my God, you're a lunatic. Stop it. Stop saying things like this. Stop it." Because I didn't know anything about David Jacobs and the alien hybrid program in those days. I was too young. I wasn't that far into research. I was just into von Daniken. I think they were the only books I could find at the time, things like that. So that wasn't popular or known really. So to us. So that really stuck in my mind. But I didn't believe him, and he was taken away to a mental hospital, and he just came out the odd weekends, but he stayed in for a number of years. I moved to London then, when I was about 19, and never came back till now. So
Did he ever describe them?
he said it was like something off the Alien movie, like really grotesque but tall, scary, and awful looking. Is that you?
No. I don't know what that is.
It's not me. That's so weird. It's not me.
This show has been full of some weirdness as we've been going on, but I've never
heard that before.
Yes. And is that coming from your laptop?
Yeah. It's coming from you.
Impossible. I have nothing going on.
I've got nothing open except this screen here.
That is, well, you know what? That's great. Even for the show, I'm not really sure what that is, but we're gonna we're in closing. We're gonna close here very soon. So,
Okay.
how have your experiences? It is the strangest thing.
Well, turn off yours and see if I can hear it, your mic, and I'll turn off mine. I can still hear it. Yeah, it's gone off.
Well, it must
It's
have
at
been some
your
sort
it's
of-
at your end, definitely.
Oh, you know, I
It's
never even
stopped
cut
now.
my mic off.
It's stopped
And
now.
It stopped. It never
Yeah.
even. I never even muted my mic.
Do you know what it was? No.
No, it didn't come from my side.
Well, when you muted your mic, it stopped.
Oh, I never touched my mic.
Oh,
I never got a chance to do it. That's
weird.
strange. So maybe it's their way of telling us that we're already done talking about them. They don't want to share more information. So if we were to, for the general person that would maybe experience this, what would they expect? How can they deal with such a life-changing experience?
it's been very, very hard, I think, and I think I was probably one of the people that could handle it because I was very cheeky as a child, very outspoken, very adventurous, inquisitive, asking questions, not taking flaff as an answer and things like that. But as well, and I had an open mind, but I can also be grounded. I mean, I'm a qualified accountant and worked in a lot of companies as head of management and things like that, head of finance. So I've had to keep my feet on the ground as well, and it's like I've had two lives in a way, but I couldn't let them take over and just suddenly be in the land with the fairies. I've had to keep everything in perspective and not get too carried away, which was quite difficult because it just blows your belief system out the window when you finally know, you get that slap in the face, and you finally know, oh my God, this is really happening. These are aliens, and they've been coming all this time, and now they're coming every day and showing me this, that, and the other. And it's just, what I find the most unbelievable thing is when I was out in the garden the other day and I was watching a plane go across. There's nothing in the sky. And I was just checking my eyesight really, because it was up quite far. I was like, well, that's easy to see. You can tell it's a plane straight away. You can't think it's anything else, you know. And then I sort of said, is there anyone up there that can hear me? And straight away, I mean, it was instantly. It's scary how instant it is. This orb just underneath the plane. It wasn't on the same level, but just underneath there like that. It just came on like that 3 times, blinked at me 3 times, and then just disappeared. So I thought I didn't get a picture, but then it came back, and it's even where they land and where they stop. It's where I can see it. They're never directly overhead, because I'm never going to look that way. It's always to the side there, to the front there, or out the window where I can see it. It's the only place where I can see. And these are the places where I don't have a great view, because I've got neighbours each side, and I've got trees in the garden and a wall and a fence and everything else. So I've only got limited sky space out there, a little square, and a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right. And that's where they always are. It's just too perfect. And the timing and everything is just too perfect. And, but I think they want to be known, and they want people to see them, but I don't know if a lot of people can take it. It will smash your belief system. If you're not a believer, and you suddenly see something out of this world, and you know this is not ours, this definitely was an alien, it sends you to someplace else. It really does, for a while, and you may not come back. I don't know. Some people don't come back, some people do. It really is. But I think it's getting a lot better now, because they're more in the public and more people talking about them. It's like accepted now. It's not like you're not a lunatic anymore if you see a spaceship or a UFO or anything like that. I don't know. Somebody said that to me the other day. I don't know if it's true. I'm feeling it a little bit better. Not much though. People still think you're crazy when you talk about, especially if you, I don't like to call them abductions, but because I don't think they are taking me against my will. I've never had any harm done to me. All I can see is positive things. As I said, they've helped me in so many different ways when I've asked. And the way they help and the intricate ways they will do things for you is just amazing. And to fit in with life and everything else, it's just amazing. It really is what they do. So this is why I know they're very caring and very sensitive to us here. They really are, and they know exactly the strife and everything else that people are having on Earth. I think they know it all, and maybe they're going to help one day. I don't know, because I can't fathom the way this world is run, to be honest. You know, I travel quite a lot to poor countries and things like that, and see a lot, and the things that are going on. It's just not right, is it? You know.
No, there's a lot going on now, especially now. It needs to be globally accepted now that UFOs, UAPs are here, and there's not much really we can do about it.
Yeah, definitely here, definitely. I mean, I've been filming orbs for a long, long time, and that one I saw was 1998 when I called it a glowy ball, and people weren't calling them orbs, but that's how long I've been filming them. They've been around when I had the first or the second, as you call it, experience with the glowy ball. I mean, I just didn't know what to call it, big glowy ball. But now they're becoming common, all these little silver spheres. I have so many of them, so many. But I just wonder what they want, and what they want with me, more or less. I mean, I don't mind knowing what they're doing on Earth, but I just want to know. I think it's something like you said, they're following the bloodline, but there's nobody in this generation that I know in my family are having UFO experiences. But somebody mentioned my mum's father, my grandfather, and he was in the army, and he had some sort of experience with a big white ball of light. He was in army barracks at the time, and something came into the room and flew all around the room, and knocked them all flying with the power of it, knocked them back against the wall, with the power of this thing, and it flew out the door like a ball lightning, I suppose, something like that. They said it was, but they call that a UFO experience. They said no one ever knew what it was. But that's what it sounded like to me, like ball lightning. But you never know. That's the only thing I've ever heard in the family, apart from ghost stories.
And I know a lot of families have ghost stories like that too, but not
I think
to your
everybody
extent.
has a story, don't they? Everyone has some creepy thing that happened or coincidences. I mean, the things with this phenomena as well, the coincidences are just unbelievable. Oh, just so scary. There's no such thing as coincidences, there really, they say. If it's a pattern, or if it's more than twice, it's a pattern. But I just get so many coincidences as well over time. It's just scary. Oh my God, how did that happen? How was that? It's just, well, what can you do? You just sort of go, ooh, and then move on. There's no one to explain this stuff to you. No one I don't know if there's anybody that could give me any answers, really. Do you? Do you know anybody I can ask?
I actually do. And in fact, after we get off here, I will give you his information if you don't mind.
Okay, yeah. That would be good.
Perfect. And if you don't mind, because I know if I were placing bets in Vegas and I would make money and I know something's going to happen again, I would like to bring you back on later this year so you can share your testimony and your experiences with what's coming up.
Yeah, that'd be lovely.
Great
Not
pleasure.
ending.
And I said, no, it doesn't seem like it's ending at all, but that's fine. Come on back and tell us your story.
Thank you very much. That's great. My pleasure.
This has been another excellent episode of Let's Find Out with co-host Diego. Please check us out on all our social media pages as well as our YouTube channel. And also, we are on Rumble. Like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for taking this journey with me. Until next time, my friends.
Thank you for listening to Let's Find Out with co-host Diego. We're on Spotify, Google Podcasts, TuneIn, Pocket Casts, and on Anchor. For more information about Let's Find Out with co-host Diego, please visit us on Facebook.com/co-host Diego, on Twitter at co-host_Diego, and on Instagram as co-host Diego. Copyright co-host Diego. All content for Let's Find Out is the property of co-host Diego and is served directly from our servers with no modification, redirects, or rehosting. All celebrity impersonators are paid performers. The impersonated celebrities do not endorse or promote any views or opinions expressed by our guests, co-host Diego, or Let's Find Out. The information shared on Let's Find Out is provided on an as-is basis with no guarantees of completeness, accuracy, usefulness, or timeliness.